Hey, my name is Melody, and welcome to Season 2 of the I'm Okay podcast. It's called I'm Okay because when people ask me how I'm doing, I don't really know how to answer. Because how do you encompass your whole life into one word? So sometimes I just say, okay. So that's kind of what this podcast is trying to process what's going on in the world, which there's a lot of bullshit, and I also struggle with mental health. But I talk about all sorts of other things that come up in the week, and it's pretty cool that some other people actually enjoy listening to it. So thanks for being here, and let's get started. Hello everyone, my name is Melody, and I am doing a little bit better than okay. Today I'm talking about rebuilding your dreams, and because I believe many of us are in a place right now where your dreams are having to be put on hold because the whole world is on hold right now. But I am feeling so optimistic this month, because I have started to rebuild my dreams, and the excitement for living has come back to me in a whole new way, and it has given me just an optimism for life that I haven't had in a long time. And this optimism in life is very unique just under the circumstances of our world, and I feel it's particularly important to share that. I noticed a number of people are taking breaks from social media, which I think is so good and important because it's really negative and draining on you. So I want to give just a different perspective and a different voice. And even though I am doing well, the intention is not, if you're in a hard place, to make you feel alienated. The intention is the whole episode is going to be about validation. So that is the opposite of what I want to do. And really, what I'm seeing on social media is a kind of a cesspool of everything sucks, the whole world sucks. But it's not, it's like a surface level cynicism, and it's not necessarily like a deep grieving for what is actually going on. And the purpose, I believe, of deep grieving is so that you can get out of it. So that's why I think, honestly, taking a break from social media is a good idea if that's what you choose to do, because then you can really take time for yourself and grieve and then kind of move out of it. So yeah, that's what I'll be sharing is the loss of my dreams in 2018, the grief that I went through, all the things you may be feeling because your dreams are on hold, and then talking about validation as a key tool to getting you through that really long period of stagnation where you feel like your dreams aren't happening. And then I'll talk about right now in my life where I'm rebuilding my dreams. And for me, it looks like going back to school. And I just have many words of thanks to teachers right now and my school, and then a final just encouragement to you to keep going. So let's get started. I have spoken plenty about kind of my the tragedies of my life. But it's funny how all the bad things seem to happen at once. It's interesting how tragedy like job loss or a breakup or a death can also lead to a loss of dreams. So in my case, it happened for a couple reasons. I don't like to go through the motions of life. I like to have meaning in everything. So even my job has purpose. A job loss feels like a loss of meaning and purpose. I put myself into everything and everyone. So with the loss of friendships, I also lose a part of myself. It's a great cost of loving deeply, but this is how I choose to live my life. It means that I get hurt a lot, and I put at times way too much into my work, too much into my friendships, but I've described it to a client before as having the opposite problem of the Grinch, where the Grinch had a heart, 3 sizes too small, and it caused problems in his life. And some of us have a heart 3 sizes too big, where we let too many people in, we let our work in, and we need to set boundaries and take care of ourselves because it hurts us. So I realized that I just put my heart and soul into everything that I do. But I think this is just the way that I was made, with a really big heart, and I put myself into everything. So it costs me a great deal, but so I do my best to set up boundaries, but it's also the way that I want to live. I want to live deeply and love deeply. So I also recognize just right at the beginning that pursuing your dreams is something, a privilege that most of the world doesn't get to grow up thinking. You can be whatever you want to be. Dream big. The world is your oyster. For most people, I think their career is chosen for them based on what can help them survive, what their family is already doing. Or people can come from a culture where their parents have already chosen a career for the child that will cause economic prosperity, but it might come at a great cost. Like maybe the family will have to sacrifice like food, or parents working really long hours to pay for the child's education, or the child's own mental health. Like, this is really not what they want to do, but it's what their parents decided for them, and it's what's gonna bring their family potentially out of poverty. So I recognize right away that the fact that I have grown up, even with people asking me, what do you want to be when you grow up, that I have a choice, and the idea of I could go to so many universities, and I had so much choice available to me, and my parents were very supportive of most careers that I was leaning towards. Not really art school, but if I really wanted to, I also could have done that. So that is not a common story. So even this discussion, I realize it is a thing of privilege. So if you're in a situation where even you have the ability to dream, just recognize that that's a rare and beautiful thing, and don't let that go to waste. But that being said, so if you do have the opportunity to dream, and you're lucky, and you have been dreaming, and you've put just emotional effort, maybe time, maybe some finances into this dream, but then tragedy strikes And then you have to make the difficult decision to put your dreams on hold to tend for the more immediate needs in front of you. So when this happens, you're dealing with two levels of grief, because you're grieving over the situation that is in front of you. Like I said, it could be a death, it could be a financial situation, it could be the loss of a relationship, job loss. So you have that immediately taking your attention, energy, finances, and you're grieving that. But then you also are grieving the fact that you had to put your dreams and your baby on the back burner. So you're dealing with two things at once that make it all the more difficult. So let's talk more about grief from your lost dreams. I am a big dreamer. I've always been. I ask, what do I want to do with my life? What is my purpose in life? Why am I here? Because having dreams and goals is how I plan to live out my life and meaning and purpose. It's very intentional. And when I have goals, and I'm excited and working towards them and feel like I'm making a difference, then I have a reason to get out of bed in the morning. So it usually starts with thinking, what is my purpose on earth? That is quite broad. And then thinking, what do I really enjoy in daily life? And how can I practically live that out with a job? And then I dream about that with a job, and then also dream about how can I do kind of a hobby on the side, because my dreams are usually twofold. I usually have kind of a career dream, and then I have like a hobby dream. So since my dreams are so tied to my purpose, when I lost my dreams, I also lost all of my purpose and meaning and reason to get out of bed, and I felt utterly lost. I had no idea why I was here, and it was super hard. It felt like a really long, this happened in 2018, so it was 2.5 years of just feeling like I was frantically searching for meaning. I would think about it every day. Why am I here? And I would think I would come up with an answer, so I would write it on my door and mull it over and see if it would stick. And I'd come up with different dreams, and then I'd look into school, and then that would last for maybe a week, and then I would go back to the drawing board, and it was really exhausting because I felt so lost. And this totally makes sense because I was trying to find two things. I was trying to find my purpose, and then I was also trying to find my dreams. And I haven't even said this yet, but if you haven't listened to my other podcasts, what happened in 2018 was I lost my job because of burnout, and I was in a very serious relationship that didn't work out, and I came out to my family as an atheist after being in a very, very religious setting. So I lost my church and Christian community. I was in Bible college. I graduated with a bachelor's in theology, but graduated as an atheist. So that too, leaving university, like leaving that community, and I had a degree, but I did not want to use it because I was really traumatized from religion. And so when I told my family, it went over really poorly, so I didn't feel safe living there anymore. So I also didn't have a place to live, and I also lost my two grandmas at the same time. So all of this tragedy happened in like a 4-month window when I was in my last semester of school. So by the end of 2018, I felt like I had nothing, no job or home, family, and dreams. So it was all gone, and it has taken years to rebuild that and find who I am. But I figured the answers to those questions: what is my purpose and meaning in life? And what do I want my dreams to be? I figured the answers would be similar to the ones I used to have, but they would have like revisions in light of my very big life experiences. And that's what happened. And I needed a few years to digest everything that went on. But it was one night, I work at a drug rehab facility, and it was one night when I was cleaning a shitty motel room where someone was detoxing from meth, and it dawned on me. So before, I wanted to be a university professor, and I had a Christian lens to my studies. And I was thinking of researching the damaging beliefs of purity culture. And now I still want to be a university professor, but I no longer have that Christian lens. And I'm interested in more of the broad study of spiritual trauma. And one of the ways in which this affects a person is, of course, their sexuality. So my dream is still there. It's just been reformed slightly in light of my evolution. I still want to teach. I still love school, but it's no longer shaped or in this Christian churchy worldview. It's kind of the opposite, actually. It's I will always carry the upbringing that I had, and the pain and trauma that I have, but I want to turn that into learning about trauma of young adults and adolescents who grew up in a conservative religious environment, not necessarily just Christian, but if there's commonalities between different like very strict religious environments, and how that affects somebody psychologically, sexually, and this came out of, it dawned on me while I was cleaning a room, but this initial conversation was connecting again with another client of mine that said, there's so many resources on sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, but there's no resources, or so few, on spiritual abuse. And that's what I feel like I have, and I connect well with clients that come from a oppressive religious environment and come out of that, and are trying to process all of that. I really understand. So that's what I want to learn more about and be an expert on, and teach, and then travel the world and speak about it. So, but it took a long time to get there. And the tool that we need to help us make it through that long journey of discovery and waiting is validation. It's what I do most at my job, is telling people that their thoughts, feelings, and actions made sense considering the circumstances they were in or are currently experiencing. It sucks when you feel singled out and like there's something wrong with you or like you're crazy. But most of the time, you're not alone and you're not crazy. Talking to someone safe should help you see that what you're thinking makes sense. With a safe friend, they can help you identify that there's probably nothing wrong with you, but likely there's something wrong with the situation that you're in. And maybe together you guys can come up with a plan to address the situation. Sometimes this terrible situation has affected you and traumatized you, and you feel like you aren't working properly. But the good news is there are people out there to help you process your grief and trauma so that you can feel like you're living life again instead of feeling like life is running over you. Validation says, I hear you, I see you. Your experience was important and difficult. You are strong for enduring it. I am proud of you for speaking about it now. You are not alone. You are not being petty or dramatic. Emotional invalidation says, it's not that bad, or look at the bright side, or the person is distracted as you're speaking to them. They might say that they've had it worse, or you're not feeling that way, you're feeling this way, or you did this to yourself. They're judgmentally blaming you for your situation instead of showing you how to take responsibility. There is an art to supporting somebody and showing them how to take responsibility. This is what I alluded to before, is a friend coming alongside you, talking about how can we get out of this situation. Is that more looks like showing you how to take responsibility, but you did this to yourself is blaming, and we don't need that because it just makes people more stuck. So why are people so bad at validating other people's emotions? The one guess I have is it can come from a generation or a male gender stereotype where you have to have this stiff upper lip to show no emotion and to tough through everything. So the idea of grieving, especially over something as silly as a lost dream, seems so petty to this culture or generation. But thinking about this group of people, they then have decades of suppressed emotions and grief that have gone invalidated, which is horrible. I have seen these very people at times literally explode in tears or rage at a random moment because it's so bottled up and it just comes out. Because we all have emotions, and some of us experience more or stronger than others, but bottling it is never good, unless you're making wine. But even then, wine is an art and is calculated, and the purpose is to open it up at the right time. You never just bottle something to seal it forever. So I feel bad for people who are in this environment where your emotions are not allowed, because it's not really going to work. It's going to come out some way, and it's not going to be healthy, I assume. But even so, if you're in that place, I want you to know that your emotions are still valid, even if other people are saying they're not. And I hope that you can find friends or other people that might say the same. This is so important when it comes to dreams, because dreams are, for me, the reason I get out of bed. Like I said, they are driven by passion, and passion is an emotion. So I have to validate my emotions, to validate my dreams, to validate my purpose on earth. So, like I said, when I lost my dreams, I lost my passion, and that heavily affected my emotions. But I validated that. I said, this makes sense, and I'm getting help to rebuild my life. I was and still am seeing a counselor. I got a personal trainer. I saw my doctor. I hung out with my friends. It was so long. It was so slow. It was expensive, and it was tiring. But I'm at a place where I feel like I've rebuilt myself. And like Hannah Gatsby said, and that's framing our series, there's nothing stronger than a woman who has rebuilt herself. You have to validate yourself all along the way. It makes sense that I'm tired. It makes sense that I want to give up. Of course I want to quit. It's been 2 years of trying. So I acknowledge that. I feel that. I yell. I smoke a cigarette. And then I say, but I've come so fucking far. And to give up now would just drag me back to where I am. And so I have to keep going. And I look at all this hard work, and it's not for nothing, because every little counseling session or doctor's appointment or hanging out with friends is a little shuffle forward. And every day I was getting a little bit better. And one day you'll see it come together. And in the meantime, it's okay to cope a little. So it's September, and I've had a week of classes, and I'm back at school, and I'm so excited. I changed my degree, so that was a big thing. I was doing my master's to become a chaplain. I wanted to work in the psych ward. And again, I thought, like, most of the chaplains are like old white men, and I was thinking about the young women that I knew that were in the psych ward, and they wanted spiritual care. They wanted to talk about, why the hell am I here? They wanted counsel, but I don't want to talk to an old white man. Like, I would want to talk to a young woman with piercings and tattoos. So I figured that would be kind of cool and unique for me to go into. But the courses I was having to take were it was with the United Church, and so just, they're very progressive, like very welcoming of the LGBTQ community, but it's still Christian, and it was just re-traumatizing, and it was too hard and too soon. And even though you don't have to be a Christian, and I was very open and honest with my peers and professors about being an atheist, it was just too hard. And it really drew me back in my mental health and feeling like I was progressing. So I took a leave of absence for the second semester and over the summer. And then I switched my degree. This is when I just discovered I don't think I want to be a chaplain. I think I want to be a professor so I can pursue a more academic degree. And I switched it over to a master's in Indigenous and Interreligious Studies. And this program is led by an Indigenous man and a female Jewish rabbi. And my peers are much more diverse. It's because you study the relationship between different religions, and yeah, so my peers are of all different religions, and it's so much more diverse, and the courses that I'm taking are just much more me and exciting, and it feels incredible to be in a degree that fits me. And I feel like I'm working towards my dreams again, instead of feeling like I'm going backwards and was still stuck in this like Christian bubble that was hurting me. So it's very exciting to feel like you're on the right track again. And so I just have some words of gratitude for teachers right now. 3 important people in my life are teachers assistants, counselors in schools at various degrees, university, high school, and teachers are the heroes right now. They are working so hard to give students the very best education they can, and they're not happy with the circumstances, but they just feel like everything is out of their control, and they're just doing their best, and they're overwhelmed. And I am just so grateful for all the work they're putting in, and I have nothing but good things to say about teachers right now. I am so grateful for accessible online education. My school was already extremely accommodating, doing everything by Zoom. The first semester I took there, I did half online and half in person. So my school already had this stuff built in, but now we're switching to fully online, and it is so streamlined, and it's just incredible, and just how far technology has come, and that I can do my master's from home through UBC in Abbotsford while working full-time. It's just an absolute dream. I am so thankful. I am just for all the work that they've put in Zoom, and just to make it still accessible for us. I am so grateful. And I am grateful for my slightly affordable education. I did my undergrad at a private institution, which was bananas. And just now it's so much more affordable, and it's just I'm just really grateful that I can afford to go to school. And that I can do it part-time. So it is weird though, having taken time off and then really gotten into the groove of just working full-time in a career and living the adult life of just working, and then switching to, okay, I'm a student again. Even though I'm still really young and it's still very much appropriate for me to be in school, it felt really weird. And then I was like, oh, I'm an adult, going back to school, I feel so old. Even though that's so not the case, you just get used to working. And so that is an adjustment. But it's really exciting to have something to work towards, and I have something to keep me busy. And I love working and doing school because I have the practical, I live out what I want to do. I think I always want to be connected in recovery because it's just where it's at. It's not for everybody, but I love it. So I always somehow want to be connected to this. So I love the practical everyday, like living and working with people with trauma, and then learning the theory behind it. And it's also great to, keep paying your bills. So, but all that being said, my final thing I want to say to you is that there will always be an excuse or a roadblock preventing you from attempting your dreams. Now, there is wisdom to be exercised, because there really are times when gunning for your big fat dreams is not the best idea. So you still have to decide. Now is not the time. But I see a lot of people that are just ruled by the fear of failure, fear of risk, that they just never give their dreams a shot. Because it's always going to be scary. You're always going to have to put yourself out there. There will probably be a financial risk involved somewhere, but you budget and you be wise and you cut down on some luxury items, but you have to, again, like, validate your dreams and say, this is worth it. Because the saddest thing to me is seeing people just go through the motions of life and not even know how to dream, or give up on their dreams, or just never take a risk. And I go, what do you do for fun? What's your passion? And they don't have any. And it's just boring and bland and sad to me. And maybe they're content with that, but I also see people that are just not content and just gray. But when I see somebody that's gunning for their dreams, they have this light and joy and optimism to their eyes that is so attractive. And you want to be around people who are excited about life, not someone who is utterly bored with it or just going through the motions. And again, this is in the context of privilege, where you have the opportunity to dream. And that is I'm very lucky to say that is the world that I live in. Is the adults in my life do have the option and finances where they could dream and they could step out and do something fun. But honestly, I would say all of them, I look at them and it's just pretty bland. And I just don't want to grow up and be like that. I want to be someone that is marked by dreams and adventure and risk, and not just growing old and stale and cold and bitter. So that is what I have to say, is that your dreams are important. And if you had to put them on hold for a while and you're feeling low, that you're not alone and it's really hard, I hope that you don't let go of those dreams. Maybe they can take a nap with you because you're both probably tired, and you can let your dreams grow and evolve with you during this time, and then come out when you're both ready. And I'm really sorry if you're frustrated for how long things are taking. I understand. Life is just a bitch sometimes. And all I can say is that I am here and I love you. And I look forward to updating you on school. And as always, I am so grateful that you are here and listening. And if there's anything that I can do or support you, you know how to reach me. Bye.